Welcome to another episode of Clear Talk. My name is Tawfiq, Director of Product Management. And today I have with me Brad Malone, Managing Partner of Navigate Management Consulting. Hey, Brad.
Hi, Tawfiq. Hi, good to see you.
Likewise, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks.
It's an exciting topic. Last couple of weeks, I've been engaged quite a bit with several customers around project management and the whole concept of work breakdown structure. I was hoping you can just give me some, and our viewers, some understanding of what is a work breakdown structure.
Yeah, because so many people, I'm going to say, can't even spell it. So, WBS, and let alone know it. So it's really a mechanism or a paradigm, and it's where it's the combination of a deliverable and labor effort and an activity all put together. So it's kind of like it's a bucket, and that bucket holds, again, and we often say, a type of labor. So it could be install, could be a portion of a WBS. And so it's going to take duration, it's going to take effort, it's going to have key deliverables to it. We can do a whole bunch of measurement against it. So it's that type of structure. If we were doing like a big building, we could say it was a wall or something like that. But systems integration projects aren't really run that way. They're run by phase. And those phases each have a key deliverable to them. So I tend to find, and again, the companies that we work together with, Tawfiq, are, it's kind of like project management is one, and that's an overarching WBS element. I can estimate against that. Another one is engineering. So it's not just a person, it's more what's the deliverable that set of people are going to do in that phase of the project. And so, other ones can be drawings or drafting, rack fabrication, programming and IT, installation, commissioning, and training. So these are, tangible buckets of effort, quote, work, there to create a deliverable. And I can measure the status and progress against that deliverable. I can estimate against that. I can analyze that against that. So what I tend to get people to think through is think about how your company estimates. So it may estimate, this display takes 2 hours. Well, the display is really not a work breakdown structure thing. It's the accomplishment of that room is through a bunch of effort.
Right.
So, I always believe in that apples, and I know you and I've set up many, and what I find is the ones I just talked through, 90% of the companies we work with all have the same major 8 to 10 sections or phases, because that's systems integration.
Right. So each project kind of goes through similar phases. They might have different length of it, but they kind of go through the similar phases.
So that, right. I typically can have different amounts of effort and different amounts of duration to installation, but it's still, at the end of the day, I have a quality standard that said something got installed,
right?
To some level. And so then I can really start to assess things. So we kind of believe in that apples to apples, how we estimate, and if our salespeople are estimating against those categories, we can start to forecast against those categories how much labor we need in the future time if we win that. We can also, when we win a job, start to plan out that project and again show backlog. So there's lots of utilities for use with the WBS. It's kind of the building block for the mental paradigm of a company. And again, it's, how we estimate is how we forecast, is how we plan, is how we schedule, it's how we allocate and assign resources, it's how we track. And, we'll talk through WIP, as part of another conversation, but that's measuring, status, progress, and forecast another way. And then we analyze, and then we do lessons learned. So it's just the building block of a phase-based project. And then most companies are project driven. In other words, they have hundreds of projects going on. So if we're all using the same language in the same way, man, we can learn.
It was very interesting. You talked about project management. I know you and I always have this discussion with our customers. is, well, project management is not really a phase. It's an overhead.
It
We
is,
shouldn't
right,
be billing for it. So, but it's still an effort, right? So, what
right.
would you tell our viewers about, should project management even be estimated as a cost? Is it just an overhead? How do we
Well,
measure
I'm going to
that?
say, and you know my answer, but absolutely. It's a skill level. And that skill level has to be trained, it has to be deployed, it has a deliverable, and that deliverable is a well-managed, predictable project. And there are steps that have to be done. Internal kickoff meetings, external client coordination, change orders, progress reviews, all the impact of milestones and understanding those. So it's a level of effort task, which to me is very different than overhead. The level of effort means I'm gonna move through the project and use it over the 9 months of that project. I may have 100 hours assigned to me, but it's not like I'm gonna go write a project plan and then go away. I'm going to
Right.
spend 10, 15 minutes a day on that project. What also happens when people think of it as overhead, one, they devalue it. Two, if they don't track it, they don't understand capacity.
Right.
If they don't understand capacity, then I'm going to have way too much effort on my PMs. We're going to force them into ADD. Our projects are going to just get into drama. So it's a competence, it's a skill, it needs to be groomed, it needs to be estimated, it needs to be tracked, and again, improved upon it. Typically, it's somewhere between 8 and 20% on the really high side of the total effort of a project. That's just what it takes.
You talked about tracking and skill, and it has to be
Right.
managed. So why is it important to kind of line up your work breakdown structure and estimation? Like, what is the point of doing all that? I mean,
Well,
you got stuff to manage for the future and
right.
work to get managed, but like, why is it so important to line that two departments together?
Well, again, forecast is what I think I'll need if we win this. Backlog is what we already won and we have to execute.
Mhm.
And companies, many, I'll say immature companies, still view projects as products with the necessary evil of labor.
Right.
Those companies that get it understand that equipment's just a vehicle to move labor, because projects are made of labor. Nothing gets done without labor. So I have different skills, and the bigger the company, the more that I have people who really are one talent, versus small companies. I have jacks of all trade who don't track much of anything. They're just in overwhelm all the time. And it's just, which fire are we putting out? So if we really understand capacity, how many hours of that skill level we have, engineering, when best can we use them? When are the projects asking for them? So again, a key conversation within a work breakdown structure is it lives within a duration. So if I have 6 projects that we all win and engineering is all in June, and we have 300 hours of capacity and 500 hours of work, something ain't going to work out right. And it's typically quality. When my engineers don't deliver quality, my installers in the field aren't able to fulfill their obligation on their deliverables. So it's very much a paradigm shift of buckets of work with competent people handing off to other people to do their deliverables.
Right. So kind of summarizing it, it's like,
Sure.
what have I sold, right? As part of managing work breakdown structure is, what have I sold? What do I have to work with? What does the project requires to take it to completion? And then what type of resources or skill sets do I have that is going to aid to it? What are my availability? So all of that has to kind of be in line to be able to effectively manage everything.
And live within that paradigm versus just, we'll just go get stuff done. And it's like going, well, when you're small-ish and don't care about quality and all that stuff, you can do that, but that's not the way to grow a company. You can't grow on that. It's unsustainable. And again, I can't clone people. I've got to start breaking things up. And also, the more I kind of chunk this stuff up into, buckets that are measurable, now I can truly measure and improve. So it's a continuous improvement cycle. I mean, it's just the mature way to really make your projects hum.
Cool. Well, thank you, Brad. That was very
You're very welcome.
insightful. So, to all the viewers, again, take a look at how your estimates are going out. What are you estimating? How are you executing? How are you grouping things together? And how are you measuring that against your skill sets of available resources? Lining all those three components of your operation together will really give you a beneficial outcome on your project execution.